What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. We are in the middle of the NBA draft and summer league. And for today, I thought it would be fun to kind of just take a break from all that. And I'm going to give you my top 10 Sixers plays of last season. Again, if you guys like what you see, make sure you hit like and subscribe below. And go Sixers, baby. Honorable mention number 3 has to be the 14-0 run by the Sixers against the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the playoffs. This game had so much hype. All season, you knew what you were going to get from the jump. Sometimes the Sixers would look flat. Ben Simmons is not attacking. They look dead. And, game 5, they started out straight and boom, 14-0 run and got them right into the second round. That was my number 3.
They are not. I don't think they utilize him enough in terms of trying to get him opportunities. And indeed, they're going to utilize him.
Simmons the drive and kick. Here comes Jimmy Butler. Kenny Atkinson wants a timeout.
They have yet to be able to consistently make the adjustment.
Butler right over the top of Harris. Embiid looking for more. Dudley comes over to help. Didn't matter.
I tell you what, they may not ever see that.
My second honorable mention has to be Markelle Fultz's first three-point shot against the Orlando Magic in, I think it was the second preseason game. Obviously, there was so much anticipation of Markelle Fultz all offseason. He didn't play at all during the summer league. I remember just sitting on my couch and just leaping for joy that Markelle Fultz made it. It didn't really mean anything. It was preseason. But for me personally, I was just so happy for Markelle to make his first three-pointer as a Sixer.
Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers!
Nice defense by Simmons. Fultz teeing up a three. And the crowd tells you the story of that one.
Well, you can see how confident he was. Sure, did he take his time? Was he methodical? But he could afford to be because he was so wide open. Nice little assessment and knockdown.
Well, Mark, it wasn't just the entire crowd that erupted when Markelle Fultz hit that three. It was also the entire Sixers bench, especially TJ McConnell, who stood up and then pointed straight at Drew Hanlon sitting on the sidelines. He has been the shooting coach, obviously, for.
My last honorable mention has to be the Boban game. This was a game where he scored 9 or 10, 11 quick points in the first quarter. Joel Embiid was resting or hurt, I'm not sure, but it was just such a memorable game, especially on social media. And I remember everyone just flipping out that Boban carried the Sixers to a victory. Just an unforgettable moment of last season.
What amount of work he's been able to put in and the strides he's made. Love that in a short period of time, he's comfortable enough to talk to his teammates direct and play traffic cop out there defensively. As a big, you're the last line. You see everything in front of you. Talk to your man.
Marjanovic nicely done in the NBA in three-point percentage at 43%. Nice look Butler for Simmons and Boban Marjanovic turning garbage into gold.
Well, pick up the point guard position, let alone pick it up and also try and incorporate the jumper.
Well, Boban with Joel Embiid-like numbers here in the first quarter. He's got 9 points and 5 boards. Marjanovic again, yes!
Number 10. Number 10 favorite moment of last season has to be Dario and Rocco's return to Philadelphia in January. Obviously, I'm a huge Dario and Robert Covington fan. Seeing them leave, the trades were no-brainers. I would have done it if I was the general manager, but being so closely attached to these guys watching them develop over the years during the process years. It was just bittersweet, and it's just an emotional moment when they returned to Philadelphia. Watching the fans, just the standing ovation, especially for Dario. And then TJ slapping Dario on the ass during the game. Just a great Sixers moment, especially for process trusters like myself. That's got to be number 10.
Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers!
Such a wonderful story for us because he is a poster child in regards to development.
On behalf of the Philadelphia 76ers organization, I'm revealing to
Well, these guys were besties when they wore the same uniform, but now that it's different, get some, Dario!
Number 9 has to be one of the most hilarious moments of the season. It wasn't exactly a win or some like celebration. It was more just something hilarious through social media that I'll never forget. Mike Scott charges after a loose ball, jumps into the stands, takes a sip of a woman's drink. I believe it was Jack Daniel's No Ice, and just, Mike Scott goes down as a Sixers legend forever.
Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers!
On the stretch, and then in the playoffs duplicated the production.
Here's McConnell off the nice save, and it pays off with a bucket. We got a Sixer player, Mike Scott, 3 red seats here and saying hello.
Well, I'll tell you, I like this addition.
Number 8 has to be Jimmy Butler's home debut with the Philadelphia 76ers. One of my favorite moments of the season was when he hit that first 3 in the first quarter, and just the stadium erupted doing Jimmy Butler chants. And it was just an unforgettable moment from last year. That's my number 8.
Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers!
Good defensively. There's Butler, and he drains the 3. Jimmy Butler. Simmons for Butler. Got it! And the Sixers are 8 for 8 to start this game. Jimmy Butler's home debut, and the Sixers great shooting. Beautifully done. Ooh. There's Fultz. They didn't block him out. Butler, can he get it off? Jimmy Butler was fouled. Count it!
Been up that easy one to Rudy.
Butler for 3. Yes! Rubio. But the Sixers do lead by a point, and he gave it up. Redick with the steal. Here come the Sixers. Butler all the way in, and he slams for 2.
It's got to be the return of Zaire Smith. Knowing and covering him in Delaware with the Blue Coats and seeing him return was just such an unforgettable experience. This is such a hard worker. Zaire works so hard, and when you see him score the 17 points against the Chicago Bulls, and he's smiling, he's running back to play defense, he's got that big smile on his face.
Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers!
And I'm not picking on Shaq. I'm just saying guys are smaller than him that have no touch compared to what he has. He's got soft touch, Zaire, with the extra effort.
How many minutes James Ennis will be able to give the Sixers once their first-round playoff series starts, and that could involve Jonathan Simmons taking minutes.
He's big. He's quick enough. He's not super quick. We're not going to fool each other, but he's quick enough. Nice touch from Zaire.
Yeah, Serena Winters mentioned yesterday on Sixers pregame live as Zaire Smith hits the 3. Zaire Smith, who had to guard Dwayne Wade for
No, the defense hasn't been on the ball intense.
Number 6, Mike Scott, game-winning three-point shot in Game 3 versus the Brooklyn Nets. This was just a wild, wild game. I actually was watching this game at a baby shower with my family, and it was just wild, just trying to stay quiet while watching the game on my laptop. And Mike Scott hits a three, and everything goes out the window. I was just sprinting around the living room after he made that shot. And Mike Scott, Sixers legend, baby.
Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers!
Tobias Harris into Embiid. A lot of traffic. Corner three. Scott good.
Talk about the trust you have with your teammate. As soon as the ball went into Joel Embiid and he fumbled it, Mike Scott did the right thing. Joel Embiid, 7 assists, none bigger than this one. Bobbles the ball and finds a way to get it.
Number 5 has to be Jimmy Butler's back-to-back game winners against the Nets and against the Charlotte Hornets. It was a time when I was, reeling after the loss and trading of Robert Covington and Dario Saric, but he made me a believer then. That was just such an epic moment as a Sixers fan. He gave us 2 of the best Mark Zumoff calls of all time, and I'll never forget it.
Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers!
Simmons out of the timeout. Butler's ball yet again, as it was at the end of regulation. Dwayne Bacon on him. Jimmy Butler. Can he win it here? It is Butler for the win. Yes! Butler buries the three with 0.3 of a second to go. Hornets without any timeouts. The prayer from Walker goes unanswered, and the Sixers win it! Wow! Here is Butler. They isolate him like they did in Charlotte. Jimmy Butler with a game on the line, thinking 3. Butler for the lead. Yes! Jimmy Butler did it again!
Number 4's got to be Corey Brewer defending James Harden. This was a game against the Rockets in January, and the Sixers were desperate for a wing, especially one that played defense at the time. They signed Corey Brewer to, I believe, a 10-day contract and just left it all on the court. Like some of the most memorable moments, especially when he was just draping all over James Harden. That's got to be my number 4 most memorable moment. Miss you, Corey.
Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers!
Had a little bit of a tussle here between Brewer and Harden. And now they're having words. Well, Brewer has been in the league a long time. I mean, let's face it. And Simmons, what a tip. Brewer!
What a tip by Simmons to Brewer.
And now Harden and Brewer. Now Harden and Brewer. Foul on Harden.
And how can Leroy Richardson call that when he was all the way at the other end? Mike McCallum was
Number 3. Here we go. So my number 3 favorite Sixers moment of last season was Jimmy Butler's game-winning shot versus the Boston Celtics. It was really, I think, a crucial moment between the relationship of Embiid and Jimmy Butler. This is when Butler froze on the court and just kind of stood there and froze while, all the Sixers players just rush him and hold him and grab him and hug him. It was just an unforgettable moment. Something that really carried through the playoffs, I thought, especially that bond between Embiid and Butler. And I'll never forget it, man, especially against the freaking Boston Celtics. We just struggled against them for years. It was just such a huge, huge win for the Sixers at that time.
Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers!
Backing in against Irving. 5 to shoot. Lost the ball. Picks it back up. Jump shot. It's good! Butler drills it with 4.7 remaining. Then the Sixers go up by 5.
My number two favorite Sixers moment of last season is definitely Ben Simmons games 2 and 3 versus the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the playoffs. This was right after game 1 when Ben Simmons looked passive. He wasn't aggressive. He had just a terrible game 1, and there was so much pressure, especially coming from local and national media on Ben Simmons. And, we were still kind of having those flashbacks of Ben Simmons against the Boston Celtics in last year's playoff series. And this was just a Ben Simmons statement game for 2 and 3. Then game 2, I believe he had a triple-double. Game 3, he didn't, but it was easily one of the best defensive performances I've ever seen from a player. He was just all over the court. And we were just so happy to see Ben Simmons step up, stay aggressive, something that he needs to do every single game moving forward. That's my number 2.
Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers!
Lead the way. A below-average three-point shooter during the regular season. Simmons before the defense.
2 on 3, finds an opening and takes it in for 2. 9 points and 5 shots. Triple teamed. A nice corkscrew move by Ben.
And the Sixers open up an 18-point lead. Simmons the steal. He's tracked by Allen. Looking for the contact. Got the layup.
14 season. Greg Monroe made that play. Early help initially. Didn't allow Russell to get to the rim. Forced him to settle for the jump. As Levert has been electric off that bench for the Nets.
Simmons trying to bulldoze his way, turns and goes. Butler. 3 seconds. Reddick gets a long 2. And Simmons. Nasty.
Lost it. Trying to save. Poked away. Simmons the leak out, and he soars in.
And it wasn't because of his jump shot. It was because he knows how to impact the game in a lot of different ways. And there's an example of it right there.
Number 1's got to be the Joel Embiid airplane against the Toronto Raptors in game 3. I remember just walking on clouds after beating the Raptors after this game. I hadn't had this feeling since the 2001 NBA Finals when Iverson did the step over against the Lakers. I just, for a day or two, I just had that feeling of elation that, like, oh my gosh, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, the Sixers have arrived. Didn't really work out the way we wanted it to, but those are my top 10 favorite Sixers moments. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to hit like and subscribe below. Thanks, guys, for watching. Go Sixers, baby.
Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers! Let's go Sixers!
That'll make the whole difference in how he's playing. And being inside, layup, shot is good, and the foul.
The score in this quarter is 19-3. They have blown it open. Embiid fakes, Embiid down the lane.
This building is shaking right now.